Good day and welcome to another broadcast of Global Impact Theory. I have a very important question to ask you this morning. If you were given a formula that can help you to reduce absenteeism and come close to eliminating staff turnover in the workplace, would you give adequate attention to this content? Today, I might just be hitting on elements of that new corporate culture that can very well provide you with that kind of information that will help to reduce absenteeism and come close to eliminating staff turnover. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the author of several books, including Billionaire Codes and Self Application Best Practices. Today, I want to bring to you a new topic, and that topic is under the theme Sustainable Human Development Legacy Plan. In my last book, I mentioned that one of the reasons that most people struggle and go through so many challenges in their lives is largely because they do not have a game plan. And today I will look at it from the perspective of how the corporate institution can help, and in the process of helping, how you're going to get the sustained high performance. So let me say this. Today we will look at the Sustainable Human Development Legacy Plan in four contexts. Context one is how does this lend to nurturing the sustained high performers? Every organization needs the sustained high performers. And I will put a face to the sustained high performers shortly. We will also be looking at this in the context of the hierarchy of human needs. And the hierarchy of human needs has been wonderfully put together by the father of humanistic psychologists, and this is Abraham Maslow. Of course, his context, his thesis is very unique, but it has some gaps. At Global Branded Marketing, we have spoken to those gaps. We have built new context and content to deal with those gaps in the interest of helping you to achieve a lower rate of absenteeism and coming very close to eliminating staff turnover. Along with this, you will understand what is human physical needs and the issue of self-actualization. And physical needs is the basic needs when looking at the thesis put forward by the father of humanistic psychologists on his thesis, The Hierarchy of Human Needs. Today we will examine that to really help you to understand that if you do not get this part of it right, the dreams and hopes and aspirations of nurturing the sustained high performance in your workplace will never be realized. We have just done a self-actualization national survey. We are now upscaling that to regional and international, and the information will be wow. So I will be talking to you about some of those research findings in today's broadcast. Last but not least, you will understand what is self-actualization strategic game plan. And let me say something quickly, because from this we're going to go deep into this program. What is your self-actualization game plan? It's absolutely necessary for you to have these kind of information. But I'm going to pause here a little bit. We'll talk a lot about that just now. Let's go back to the first lesson, the first concept or context in which this program is going to be presented to you or in. What is the sustained high performers? Every organization needs the sustained high performers. In our context, we introduce the sustained high performers to you as the people who are the corporate visionaries, the corporate innovators, and the corporate leaders. What exactly do we mean by the corporate visionaries? We need people that can visualize future trends. We need people who can use that visualization process to ensure that they can help your brand to differentiate with complete relevance to the demographic needs, wants, and expectations, with complete relevance to the demographic lifestyle, culture, and social class. You need these kind of visionaries. But moving away from visionaries, you need the visionaries that can innovate new products and new services that is completely relevant to global business and global demands. We help you to nurture this mindset, which is absolutely necessary to help your organization to maintain its competitive advantage and maintain relevance in global commerce and trade. You also need to have the corporate leaders. All three must be married: the corporate visionaries, the corporate innovators, and the corporate leaders. The corporate leaders are the people who can take your innovation based on that clear sense of understanding of the product intentionality and leverage that intentionality to add value or to fix a problem regionally, nationally, and internationally. You need these kind of thinkers, sustain high performance in your workplace. So the legacy plan that we're talking about is a legacy plan, sustainable human development legacy plan that helps you to build the human capital with complete relevance to your corporate short and long-term vision. But along with looking at your corporate short and long-term vision, we help the individual themselves to develop their game plan for success. Because we don't want to be stuck in first industrialization corporate culture and second industrialization corporate culture that simply develop a business module and get the masses to internalize that information and simply apply that information from a perspective of moving the organization forward, but not from the perspective of moving the individual forward. Of course, here again, we are talking about systems that can help you to, one, reduce absenteeism, and two, eliminate staff turnover. The corporate culture has to be on point. And we will help you over a period of time to understand the context of that corporate culture and why adopting that new corporate culture that we have just designed at Global Brand and Marketing is a must. It's a must if you want to remain relevant in the market. It's a must if you want to grow and compete in regional and international trade. It is a must if you want to significantly increase your profits. And we will help you to understand this process over a period of time. Now let's talk a little bit about the second context of this program, which is the hierarchy of human needs. When one looks at the father of humanistic psychologist Abraham Maslow's thesis, five things stand out on that thesis. Human basic needs or physical needs, human security needs, human social needs, human esteem needs, and the last but not least, self-actualization. We will look today at human physical needs or basic needs. And in those basic needs, you will learn a lot about the importance of air. You learn a lot about the importance of water. You learn a lot about the importance of rest and food and exercise and good health. Of course, the way in which I will present it today, I want to assure you, most people around the world that I've interfaced with will not look at it in this way, and they are not even have not even taken this context into consideration. But I want to say this to you before going into the program. If you disregard these elements, it's a recipe for disaster. Major, major disaster. This disaster is not only designed to destabilize the individual, make the individual self-destructive, but it can destabilize the global economy. And we look at those basic needs that can have this profound effect on global realities. Last but not least, in the fourth context in which we're going to be looking at this program is the human physical needs which I just mentioned, but the last one is self-actualization strategic game plan. What exactly do I mean by the self-actualization strategic game plan? Now, this is what I want to say. The individual themselves do not have a strategic game plan for self-actualization. And what I have emphasized in my book is that development does not take place in a vacuum. One has to be intentional about the growth and development and transformation that you want. In my book, I clearly states that when people understand themselves, they have a clear sense of understanding as to where they want to go, why they want to get there, and how to get there, and they have the support systems to get them there. They achieve more. Your game plan to help you self-actualize, to help you become the best brand of yourself is absolutely necessary. And in the new corporate culture that we are presenting to you is designed to help you to truly understand these fundamental principles to human sustainable development. I will give you a few essential takeaway, a few benefits why the self-actualization strategic game plan is necessary. This in itself being adopted by corporate entities across the nation, across the region, across the world. This is a defining moment in terms of your bottom line. This is a defining moment in terms of your diversification. This is a defining moment in terms of your regional and international integration and competitiveness. Let me explain to you why. This self-actualization strategic game plan in alignment, helping the individual to develop a game plan in alignment with the corporate vision, it will help to, one, guarantee the sustained high performance. People just do not grow. You have to be intentional in your growth strategic systems. So the system that we are proposing, it will guarantee sustainable high performance based on strategic principles that have been outlined just now as I come to explain human basic needs and why they must be met if you want the individual to become the sustained high performers and always be at their peak level of performance. What I'm saying to you, first of all, it will guarantee sustained high performance. And I want to be bold enough to say a guarantee based on research, based on evidence that are out there. The systems that we are bringing to you is going to bring you a number of guarantees. The second guarantee that I want to give to you is a guarantee to reduce absenteeism. Of course, in the organization, there are many reasons why there may be absenteeism. One of the corporate traps that we have inherited from first industrialization, second industrialization, and we're about to carry it across into third industrial revolution is that the individual that may be going through whatever should leave the whatever for the whatever. Don't bring it to the organization. What research is showing is that it is practically impossible for the individual to leave the whatever outside of the door of the workplace and still function in the organization as though it doesn't exist. I don't want to get into what the whatever is all about, but you're smart enough to dissect what I'm saying. The individual is faced with multiple challenges, and this is perhaps also one of the reasons why today in the world we have over 110 million people that dies from stress-related activities annually. Every 2 minutes you have 7 persons who die from stress. A lot of this is in the workplace. In England, we learned only recently that you have 100,000+ persons that commit suicide on a monthly basis. That's a very, very huge number. So it makes sense for the corporate leaders to show empathy and compassion and care to the human resource that is responsible for the turning of engine and turning of machine and moving the organization forward. We need to have that new corporate culture that can truly speak to that. And at Global Brand and Marketing, we have designed this new corporate culture. And over a period of time, we're going to bring this content of information to you that would help you to understand the absolute necessity for focusing on this new corporate culture. Another guarantee that we want to bring to you is the issue of reducing, if not eliminating, staff turnover. Are you aware that every time you have to change a staff, it doesn't only cost your firm to hire that new staff, you have to advertise, which we call the recruitment, selection, and then the placement. But beyond the recruitment, the selection, the placement, you have to do the training. Training comes at a cost. Training comes with time. And if you can reduce this, it's a critical way in reducing financial hemorrhaging in your organization. But there are ways to do it. And I want to say, with a clearer understanding of the father of humanistic psychology's thesis, the hierarchy of human needs, there's a lot of information there that you can dissect and leverage. What is not there, what we have done at Global Branding and Marketing, is to develop a system to complement Abraham Maslow's thesis in an effort of helping you to maximize performance in the workplace, to make your contribution to adding to sustainable human development in alignment with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Profound information. Very soon we're going to be rolling out additional training program for you to learn the know-how, the best practices, and pitfalls that you should avoid if you really want to grow your business with regional and international relevance. So eliminating staff turnover are systems that we have incorporated in our new corporate culture initiative that will take your organization to another level of development. This is a close guarantee that we want to bring to you. Along with this, just think about this. You're able to nurture the sustained high performers. You're able to reduce absenteeism. You're able to eliminate staff turnover. I know that sounds like wishful thinking to first industrial thinkers and second industrial thinker, but the new age thinker, they're what we call collaborative cultures. And as I go deeper into it, you will understand precisely what I'm saying when I talk about eliminating staff turnover. You have to come out of that fixed mindset that is stuck in first and second industrial revolution. Please don't bring it over to a third industrial revolution. If you're able to accomplish this, in this case I'm going to say when you're able to accomplish this, what you think is likely to happen to your organization? What impact do you believe that this will have on your organization? One, it will impact on your business competitiveness and profit margin. Any organization that has low absenteeism and low or eliminated turnover is going to have greater competitiveness and enhanced productivity and enhanced profit. These are things that you're likely to get with the new systems that we're bringing to you. This is going to absolutely take your organization to another level of development. Along with this, think about other benefits, impact on business growth and business diversification. Because now you have stability. And if you ever do business in a country, just an example, that has high political instability, what does that do to your company? So you have external factors influencing how the company itself functions. because of the political instability, it's, it's not allowing you to make clear economic forecasts in terms of business trend because of the instability. So it affects your business decision. So you have an external factor influencing your business decisions. And in business, you learn this as the PES, PSD. I will not go into that today. But you also have the internal factors influencing how your business operates. The human element, the issue of absenteeism, the issue of staff turnover, the issue of underperformance, because people are not aligned to the area that they are called to function. So it creates some degree of negative growth in the organization. You have both external and internal factors. In this case, we're looking at the internal factors that are affecting your business. If you're able to eliminate that, when you're able to eliminate that in doing the new, in relation to the new corporate culture that we will present to you, what is likely to happen? You can now focus on your business growth, expanding your business growth, and you can think about diversifying your business because you have the last thing you have to think about is performing staff, absenteeism staff, turning over staff. You can now put that energy into, because you have greater stability, into looking at how you can expand the operation, how you can diversify your business. So in this new corporate culture that we bring into you, we'll learn all of these systems, which is fundamental if you really want to grow and expand that operation in the healthiest of ways. The other benefit that you're likely to get with the new corporate culture that we are proposing is the impact on building leverage for your global brand, impact on your business, and leveraging a global brand. You see, with internal stability and external stability, you can now put your energy into building your brand with global relevance. And in building your brand with global relevance, you can create global leverage. And global leverage gives you greater visibility, gives you greater reach, gives you greater impact, enhances your credibility, but most of all, it gives you a fast rate of conversion, and that fast rate of conversion significantly increases your profitability of your firm. So the new corporate culture that we bring into you will significantly optimize the growth of your operation. In saying this, I've just given you some of the possibilities. But what I'm about to say is the underminers to those possibilities. I did mention earlier on that for the moment, because artificial intelligence is out there, in another 15 years it's going to become more commonplace, but for now we are still working with the human element. And there are things that I want to say about the artificial intelligence in alignment with human development, but this is not a program for me to say today. Later down I will talk about that. But if it is that we are looking to optimize human performance, and in the interest of optimizing human performance, we want to optimize performance of the firm and increase profitability, taking care of human basic needs is very important. The first basic needs that I want to talk about today is the physical need. And the physical need represents what? It represents air. Very often we believe that access to air is the equivalent of clean air. Access to air may not necessarily be clean air, but what impact does that have on human performance? How does the lack of clean air affect human psychology, human physiology, human biology, human sociology? The research that we have done has shown that being in an environment where clean air is not a norm or air is polluted, it affects the human in all four of those areas I've just talked about. It affects their psychology, it affects their biology, it affects their physiology, and it affects their psychology. So it's important to understand this. When you get into the program, we'll give you more guided, a better guideline as to systems that you should put in place to address these issues. And I want to say, in dealing with our program, we have some of the best psychologists locally. We are working with anthropologists, and we work with a number of the critical stakeholders to ensure that you have your human resource has a clean bill of health as you set the stage to help them to become the best brand of themselves. The second element that I want us to look at here today under the basic need is what we call water. Very often we say having access to water is not the equivalent of access to clean water. So the emphasis here has to be on clean water. But what is the definition of clean water? Today, many of us are drinking what is assumed to be clean water, but then the clean water is laced with fluoride. And what the fluoride does, I'm going to give a brief scientific explanation of what it does. Fluoride in the water stores in the body. The particular place in which it stores in what is known as your pineal gland. And what it stores there, it calcifies the pineal gland. And that prevents the brain from working the way it's supposed to work. But you are ill aware of this, and you're consuming water that is not as toxic to the body. And what is toxic to the body, it yes, again, will have a psychological impact, it will have a biological impact, it will have a physiological impact, and it will have a sociological impact. So as we get into our program, we also help you to understand this and to become aware of all of these factors that is preventing you, the individual, if you want to self-actualize, from being in a better position as trying to achieve that. Because in many cases you want to achieve this, but you have so many health issues to deal with that one day you're up and one day you're down because of all of these chemical intake that you're completely unaware of. And I'm going through the list. Food. Many of us, we eat, yes, and we believe that we're eating a healthy diet. But you're eating a healthy diet in the secondary or tertiary stage. How about a healthy diet at the primary stage? And what do I mean by this? You're eating vegetables that has no chemical, that has no GM. We are hearing today of elements of iron that is placed in simple things like cereals. And what it does to the body, it affects how the body functions. We have heard a whole host of stories about genetically modified food and what it does to the body. Sometimes what most people do is eat food, but the issue of traceability of the quality of food that you're eating, you don't have access to the information. We have in the developed world countries like England, they like to present to the world the issue of traceability. For instance, you cannot export logs to the developed world unless you can do traceability, unless you're compliant with the traceability system. And this traceability is put in place, why? Because they want to protect the environment. They want to make sure that the process that you're using to access lumber is compliant with the greenhouse mission that they have. So the emphasis that we're going to be placing on the environment, we need to also place that similar emphasis on a human healthy lifestyle. So these are some of the information that we will give you when you become a part of our campus, part of our learning institution. Because in the absence of the basic, and we only at the basic here, in the absence of this basic knowledge, it's going to affect how the human capital function in your organization. And guess what? Most cases, we are seeing managers and leaders of the organization who's completely unaware of these effects on human performance. The other thing is that we're going to talk about quickly is rest, and the average person take rest for granted. You should have adequate rest. When you rest at night, and I'm not going to go deeply into it, but briefly, rest is where you get what you call the melatonin from. Is where you get your dopamine from. This is healthy dopamine. There's other ways in which people use to get dopamine, to get energy. Dopamine is that thing that gives you energy and zest and vitality. There's a good way and there's a wrong way in which you can enhance your dopamine level. If this is not right, it's going to affect your psychology, your biology, your physiology, your psychology. It's going to affect every aspect of your life. Because the melatonin translate into the nighttime melatonin that you get from rest translate into daytime serotonin, the dopamine level. You need to understand these things, and we will help you understand these things when you get into our program. There's a many other issues that I want to raise with you here today, but I think today I have given you a lot of information. So I just want you to ponder upon this information, and in the next broadcast, I will bring you an updated, I will expand this examination into some other areas for you to understand at the basic level how important the issues that I'm raising is. However, before concluding, I must say this. Early in this program, I said that failing to understand the importance and dynamics of the basic needs, I said it can have profound impact on the human lives, it can have profound impact on the nation, and it can have profound impact on the world. And I literally mean this. If we're not looking at clean air and clean water and good food, adequate rest, proper exercise, you will not have good health. And just think about this. Global commerce and trade is driven by the human capital. And while the AI is there, AI has its role to play, and I'll talk a lot about that when the right time comes. But at this stage of the game, we need our human capital. And if we're not investing in our human capital, organization will be affected, nations will be affected, the world will be affected in more ways than one. This is not only a global unhealthy workforce, but it can become more catastrophic. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to be the person necessarily who is talking about the deja vu or the conspiracy theorist. But from hard research, hard academic research, you can do these forecasts and you can see things that is to come. And what smart people do, they develop a mindset where they can have a vision, because we learn that people without a vision shall perish. So these information again can have transformational effect on your organization. And my mission is to provide a content of information to the corporate world that will truly enable the corporate environment to be more robust and more strong and be in that position of strength to create massive employment opportunities and growth opportunities for the human capital. Perhaps this is the human element, the human nature of me, the humanitarian side of me that is coming out in this particular um, chat here. So I trust today you would have enjoyed today's program, Sustainable Human Development Legacy Plan, and based on the new corporate culture that we have just designed and the possibility, the impact that this new corporate culture can have on your organization. Again, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the author of several books. And it has been a pleasure being with you today. I look forward very soon in the coming days ahead to present another unique podcast on human resource development and on issues that can truly transform businesses and help businesses to be more competitive, particularly as we look at moving towards the third industrial revolution to speak about the communication internet, the transportation internet, and the clean energy internet. Along with this, you have the fourth industrial revolution that is upon us. My mission, our mission at Global Brand and Marketing is to ensure that you have information that puts you in the know and enable you to attain relevance and the competitive advantage wherever you're doing business. Be blessed until the next podcast. And remember to share this information and subscribe to this podcast, share this information within your network, and let us help to share the word, to get the word out together. Be blessed until the next podcast.